All right, I'm trying to make a really quick video. I'm just going to give you some details and some things that I found out while I was just diagnosing this car. I started to do a whole entire video, but it was a lot. It was a lot. And I know some people just don't like looking at like technical stuff because it's like boring. But if you have a 2012 Hyundai Genesis, you might have this issue, so just be vigilant. I had this car got towed in, but it drove perfectly fine. She had some issues when she was driving it, and she called and was like, hey, something's wrong with my car. Long story short, here it is. Took it on a test drive. It drove great. I just had that code p0203. That was the code, p0203, and that was an injector open circuit. So the injectors are sitting on an intake there since it's direct injection, and I went tackling the circuit for the injector. So the first thing I did was I did put my coil. I had an amp clamp. You see the amp clamp here. I was just looking at patterns. That's all I was looking at. Didn't care about the amperage. I had it on a 20 millivolt scale or something like that. So I was looking at the low setting. So I was looking at the ramps, comparing them with the working ones. So cylinder 3 was our culprit here, and I was just comparing it. See, I was on 200 microsecond scale here, and I compared cylinder 3. I had the low signal, so it's like when you look at the wiring diagram on this one, you're gonna have it's gonna say low and high. So I'd imagine low is gonna be the signaling side, and high is gonna be obviously the 12 volt side of things. So when I put my test lead on low and high side. So this is how the low side ramp look here, and then we have the high side there. So that's the kind of waveform you get on the blue trace there. And then the orange right there is my amp clamp. So then that was some snap throttles I had zoomed in on, just trying to see if there's any type of discrepancy with number 5, number 3, since that was our culprit. And with gas. On my handwriting. So I mean, everything was consistent. So I didn't break my neck over that. I went to the extent of doing resistance value tests. So I had the banks here. It just sits like this. I just wrote the banks down, 135. 3 was our problem. That's on the passenger side. And again, it sits the injector 600 intake there. So it's gonna be hard to access. So 2, 4, and 6 is going to be on the driver's side. That's our even numbers. The last little bit I did wind up checking. I just wrote the time down. See how long it took me to assess this car. So I wound up taking resistance value at the very end, and everything was fine. These with a 180 degree engine, you're supposed to take them at 70 degrees. I'll put the proper specification in the video here that the factory recommend, but this is a hot engine, and like I say, everything works fine. They're consistent with the number 3 is consistent with 6 and 5, which didn't have any issues. And usually when I get desperate, I'll start checking resistance. That's me checking the injector fuse here. I was trying to link up with that on the amp clamp, but that did not work in the fuse box, because this system uses this injector control module to individually supply power to the isolated injectors. So it's not like a batch fire or anything, for I understand. It's these pins that come out here, 2 pins go to the injector, and it does it for all 6 of them. So let's see here. So yeah, so, and like I said, I speculate that the high was the positive, so that's why I put it in there. I didn't go in like great detail or anything, but like I said, I was just hooking up, just looking for some patterns. So coil 3, injector 3, I had wound up hooking up on pin 16 and 33, and that's kind of where I'm hooked up now. I just want to show you what I wound up finding out. These are the values that I wound up getting with the injector corresponding pin at the PCM. They were all around 570 kilo ohms. So if you hook your ohm meter up to it and check the pins, that's the value you'll get. And I'm going to show you that with pin number 16 and 33, which is our number 3 injector coil. And what I'll do also is hook up on like number 6 and show you the difference, which number 6 coil is going to wind up being, this is total chicken scratch. It's a pin number 18 and 17. So pin 17 and 18 are going to be for coil 6. And if you care, number 5 is going to be pin 20 and 35. That's coil 5. I'll put some wiring diagrams in here. Like I said, it's just kind of, I'm kind of like everywhere right now because there's a lot going on. So like I said, I checked resistance at the wiring going to the injectors. They were fine. Let me show you what I found out with this one, while I'm concluding that the issue I got is just pretty much a bad section on the pin. So we just didn't have any continuity. And I guess once the amp ramped up, having a load to activate that injector, it just probably had a bad spot. And then you got the vibration of the engine and the harness and stuff. And I guess that's why I'm hitting that dead spot for maybe like a millisecond, and it generated a light, went to a limp home mode. So let me show you what I found out. All right, we got a meter hooked up. I'm just going on ohms here. So I'm gonna use my alligator clamp to keep one of them in a fixed position. And just drag this one around, this ground one. So I'm gonna show you how this is pinned out here. 1 through 15 is non-existent. It starts from 16 and goes up to 30. And so basically every row is like consists of 15. So 1 through 15 is non-existent. This is 16. This is where we're going to be hooked on. There's 30, 31, 32, 33. So we're going to go right there, here, and there. Put my alligator clamp on this bottom one. This is coil number 3. Show you. I'm gonna try to get this on film here, but I'm gonna drag the bottom, the issues at the top. So I'm bottomed out. I'm just dragging up. And we still have our same value. I'm maxed out. I'm gonna take it from the top and go all the way down. Nothing changes. But I'm gonna go on the other side here. Go from the top. And I'm gonna drag it down, watch what happens. Oh, fell off a little bit. Fell off again, hold on, bear with me. Fell off again, hold on. Let me get this right. Look at there. 297K ohms, and I'm not even bottomed out. Now I'm bottomed out. And it went to 303 ohms, 303K ohms. I'm gonna drag it back up to the top. I'm going slow, coming back up. And we hit that 5. And it's oscillating from 3 to 5 there. I'm in that sweet spot. So I'm just rubbing back and forth. I'm going up all the way to the top here. And it's having a normal value, a consistent value. I'm gonna go back down, and it just hit that sweet spot again. Go from the top, drag it to the bottom. There's our sweet spot right there. I don't know if I can get this on video where you can see the problem, because it's in here. 31, 32, 33. Like I said, I'm just taking it, just dragging it all the way down. I'm going to show you, so if you can probably see it in the back, it's a little blurry. So it'll show up. Yeah, there you go. You'll see it in the back. So that's that. I'm gonna go to so it's only on one side though, and I think it just hit that sweet spot before I start acting stupid. I'm gonna go to coil number 5. So we're gonna go to 35 and 20. 35 and 20. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then we're gonna do the same test for 35, which is coil 5, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So there's 35 there. I haven't tested it, so we're doing this together. If I can get this thing straight on here. I'm just going to drag it slowly up and down and back up. Everything's fine. Do on the other side. And down. And come all the way back up. Go all the way down. Everything's fine. So I'm gonna work on cleaning that spot up on this pin here. I mean, this is worse in areas like there's just no connection. Oh, no. Wrong one. Got a little dragon happy. Yeah, there's like no connectivity on just that opposite side in some instances. Let me get this cleaned up. I want to do a drag test. I don't have a male replica of a pin out, so I mean I got to use this cotter pin. I got a smaller one, and so we need to go to 16 and 33. 16. So we need to go to this red one here. What I'll do, put a, let me try this. Here we are. I'm just gonna drag it in and out. This is the closest thing I got, and everything looks fine. Move it back and forward. So I think that's okay. I'm gonna clean up my pin to go into the injector module and get this back installed and take it on test drive. But I'm pretty confident this is what I got going on. I mean, there's no point of just like coming back and be like, hey, everything worked fine, you know, but definitely if anything happens, I'll definitely update in the description. But as far as I'm concerned, for everything I've done, compared with a known good one, 2 known good ones, everything worked out. Did a resistance value test that was compatible, even though resistance values are like negligible in instances, like it's pretty much meaningless in a way. in comparison to just normal functioning. The pins here, this male pin, this is where I'm going after, so I'm still going to clean that till I get it to where I can move my lead up and down and it shows the same consistent 540 k ohms. It's the next day. This is gonna be pretty lengthy. I'm just gonna talk about this stuff, so I might have to make a part 2, and so I try to put everything in one video. So I got everything put back together once I discovered that there was some discrepancies with the pin. Drove it yesterday. Me and my girlfriend went and got some food and stuff, and it started misfiring. Worked fine. Just started misfiring out of nowhere. Came back this morning. Same code, p0200-p0206. Now I sat there and thought about this shit all night, and I'm like, well, what the hell did I do wrong? What could I have done better? I compared the waveforms with the factory, and everything worked out. Like, it literally looked the same from cylinder 3. That's the one that's defective, with the factory recommendations, the factory's information. So compare that, but the only thing was the oscillation in the back. Let me show you. That oscillation down there, that's the difference. But my thing is like, well, coil 6 had it. I checked the low and the high side. Yeah, but it wasn't that much though. But I'm like, well, did that mean anything? That's with the coil 3, and that's with snap throttle. 3 with snap throttle. I think that's still 3, I want to say. But that's the only difference that I've seen. It was just that oscillation in the back. That's 5 snap throttle. I mean, it still had 5 had it, but it wasn't as significant as number 3. So that's the only thing I can like really see, because, and I'm not too familiar with direct injection, like as far as testing the circuit with that. I mean, this is still new to me. I'm just comparing patterns, truth be told. So this is the blue trace was my voltage, and I had the amp clamp on the orange trace right there. And I was just comparing with the factory. That's all I was doing, just matching and comparing. That was okay, but that was the only thing that was questionable. Okay, let's move on. So today, like, I wound up hooking up the ohm meter, got the temperature down, I had a fan on the motor. I feel like it's about 100 degrees or 90 something, 90, I would say, degrees, because it's warm. I can touch it and put my hands on it. Did another resistance check yesterday when it was 200, about to say 190 degrees. It was around 2.2 ohms, 1.9 ohms. I'm on coil 3 right now. It's fluctuating between 1.6 and 1.7 at about 100 degrees. Now it's so before it was 2.2 ohms at about 190. Right now it's 1.5 ohms, 1.6 ohms. Recommended ohms for the coil is supposed to be around 1.2. But again, I checked the others that aren't generating a code or posing a problem, and they were all around the same. I did the same test I'm doing now. Hooked up. I start doing a wiggle test, because this is where the problem was that I discovered on the pin, and everything's fine. It's not dropping off or anything, but it could be something insignificant where it's dropping off in like microseconds. So I'm gonna be honest. Right now, I just feel like, I'm just gonna change the injector, compare the waveform with the other ones, and maybe the oscillation right there may not present itself. Maybe it might not be as bad when I put a new one in there. But like I said, the current ramps are the same. The low and high was the same. What am I doing wrong? The only thing I saw that was different was the pin. And I cleaned that, and it was working. It's fine. So cleared the codes, drove it. Here we are. So, like I said, a customer just literally texted me a little while ago, gave me the okay to go ahead and replace the injector. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I do have to remove this intake. And I just simply put, I've taken the intake off a couple of these. I'll probably just try to get like a like a blow by footage or something, just something real quick, and we just zip right through it, get to the meat and potatoes, and pull the injector out. Now I'm just going to replace the injector. I mean, you're supposed to replace the tube in the back. So I think that it's like a smash collapsible type compression fitting, but I'm not. I'm gonna reuse that, and everything should be fine. I never had any issues. So let's go ahead and get this torn into. I got an injector on the way, and I'll just compare the waveforms afterwards. All right, we're at bank 1. I got the intake removed. We have bank 1 here on the passenger side, 135. This is 3. This is where we're going. Injector is going to live under this lower intake, so we can get that removed. Let's see. Don't have to take anything off over there. No, there's one. I gotta get the bolt under here. It's the hex. Hopefully look like a 7. Maybe wrong. Look like a 7mm. I put valve cover gaskets on here. I just didn't bother to document that. It's pretty extensive. Oh shit! No. Oh. Okay. Put that back there so I don't get it the direction. I think I can get a hex down there. It's the coolant line. Let me see. I'm gonna take that off. It's a 10mm. This is a 6. Pin had dropped back down in here. There it is right there. There you go. I was taking that other 10mm bolt off the intake plenum. It's better to use a deep well socket, evidently. That's enough. With plastic, the better. Let's see. Yeah, look how soft those are. Just move so easily. That's scary.
Wasn't that much coolant that came out. Got there, so we don't forget. Here's our bank. So coolant's gonna sit there and drain. I'm gonna look at these valves just to be on the safe side. Look great. Valves look horrible. It is direct injection. Got the line loose at the high pressure fuel pump. There's a nut, there's a bolt back there that holds a bracket for these lines going to the fuel rail. This is how the fuel lines look. They have O-rings on them. That'll explain why the left bank is a little bit more difficult than the right bank, because you have to pull out, well, the labor time, pull that out. Okay. Here's our injector. That's the one we're going to replace. Connectors are like all old. The high pressure fuel rail connector I pulled out, that broke. Anyway, I can put it back in there and zip tie it and back in the fixed position. I think everything got to worry about anything happen. I don't think we have to worry about anything happening. It's our injector. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it being clogged or anything, because we had a resistance fault. If the circuit is open, then there's something internally wrong, well, electrically wrong with the component. Work on getting that coolant down there too. All right, the new injector came in. This is not the new one right here. This is the old one. Little zoom in. So it has Kia, Hyundai written on it. Here's the new one. Came from O'Reilly. This is an intermotor product. I did inspect it a little bit. Here's that. It has Kia written on it, and Hyundai. Only thing, it doesn't come with this grommet here, so we can pull this off. Slide it on the new one. I'm gonna do a quick resistance check. And I could just simply hook it up and then we can just compare the values. But let's just do this one first. I took the initiative to check the old one, and it did have a normal value factory. So we're gonna put that in there. I'm gonna do the exact same on the other one, put the ground lead on the bottom. So we currently got 1.4 ohms on the new one. I did the same test on the old one because they're about the same temperature now, and I literally had the same value, 1.4 ohms. So, I mean, I know resistance tests aren't that great, so we'll see what happens. Let's look at the tips here. What I'm gonna do, I need to get this installed because I got a lot of other things, and just recording is gonna take up a lot of time. Well, let me do one more thing. You gotta take in consideration when you have additional wires going to alter resistance value also. So I'm gonna plug this in, hook up the fuel injector from the main connector at the injector driver box. I do have it separated This is the old one. So we're making 2.2 ohms. And let me plug in the new one. See if the value changed. It shouldn't, but we'll see. 2.2, 2.1, same thing. So I'm gonna get everything installed in reverse order. Now maybe some things are different on the oscilloscope. Don't know, we'll find out. And that's what we'll check. So let me get everything buttoned back up. All right, got everything knocked out, put everything back together for the most part. 99% done. I've got to put some cosmetic stuff back up on there and finish redoing the wiring just to put some insulation on there. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna test drive it, put 20, 30 miles on it, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. I'll just have to update the comment section, not the comment section, the description if anything changes. But for the most part, the resistance value was the same. Even the old waveforms for the old injector were the same. I mean, I can compare the new ones. I'm just like you have to forgive me, I'm kind of over it. But there's a factory injector that we got in there. Maybe it was rebuilt, I don't know. But I felt like I had to shoot apart at it, but I don't know what else I could have done to ensure that I was 100% accurate in seeing that this injector was faulty. Again, I'm gonna put some miles on it, and we'll see what happens. All right, I went on a test drive, just got back. I got about 30 miles put on there. Went through a couple startup cycles. Want to get some food, sat there for a little bit, and want to go run a couple other errands. But I just want to show you that I did drive the car. Went through somewhat of a drive cycle. I did go on the highway, and we got 2 monitors incomplete. Let me see if there's any pinning codes. I'm just in the generic portion. See, there's no fault codes, and I think everything's fine. And like I say, I went through everything with a fine-tooth comb, compared with a good sensor, not a good sensor, but a good injector. And I'm assuming maybe, I don't know, I like to blame myself for everything, even though it probably was just something environmental. Don't know, but normally I would imagine I would see if there was some electrical issues. It would show in the waveform. But maybe I screwed up something. I don't know. But I'll tell you, let's see if I can get this up here. This connector here, it does go to the injector box. So it's a possibility, being that I did a wiggle test up here, maybe I didn't jiggle the connector here. This one. You know, I could have done, I'm just always like, hindsight is always 20/20. Maybe I could have done something different, but I did mess around with the wires while I was hooked up on the ohm meter. I guess I got the injector replaced. If hopefully this will help somebody. It wasn't bad pulling an injector out. I can promise you that it was not bad. And it is recommended you change the fuel line, and I didn't do it. You know, so if something happened, it's definitely on me. So I'll take full responsibility for that. I'm gonna get this wiring taken care of, get everything, the covers back on here, and but definitely if something happens, I'll definitely update in the description. So just keep a lookout. I'm pretty good for that. Hopefully I got a reputation with being transparent. But hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, have that reassurance on my work, and I'll see you on the next one.